There's a physical change when you express kindness and you acknowledge somebody and their worth and who they are and what they're about. And you just acknowledge them as a human, as a person. Welcome back to Case Studies. I've been thinking about doing this solo cast for a while now, and I haven't fully known how to deliver it with kind of the right intention and the right spirit. And I think ultimately Christmas season is the exact right time to talk about this subject, and it's the principle of giving. And I want to start out with this story. So it was a couple years ago. I took my daughter on a date, and this is kind of a practice that we've had for a lot of years. It's really fun for me and, my kids to be able to sneak off one-on-one and go have an experience, kind of whatever they wanted to do. When we were at Cold Stone, and as we're going through the line, there was a employee working at the line, and Cold Stone is kind of, famous for people with great energy that, they're cheering and doing different things. And when they make your ice cream and you give them a tip, they get excited. And the girl who was working was not that energy. You could tell that she was having a hard time with life. She had bleached hair, looked like she had low confidence, low energy, and we're going through, and it wasn't a great experience going through this line. And ultimately we get to the end of it, and you could just see that she was hurting and was struggling. And we get to the end of the line. It was a $6 or an $8 ticket, and I gave her a tip for $100. And I'm with my daughter, and we give her this tip, and you can see her entire complexion change, and she tears up, and you can just you know that there was something going on in life that was weighing on her. And so we sat down, had our meal, and then I get a call later that day from a guy that I'd worked with, and he said, "Hey, you don't know this, but my daughter was working at Cold Stone. She's been really struggling with life, and we haven't really known how to help her. And she came home really happy today. And she said that you gave her a tip, but that you acknowledged her for doing a great job." And I don't know if she was doing a great job or if I was encouraging her that she could do a great job, but it was more acknowledging her as a person and trying to tell her thank you for putting in her labor so that me and my daughter could go have a date together and go have that experience. But it was a reminder to me of the power of giving and the power of kindness and the power of conscientiousness to really care about people and to see people and to experience them where they're at. I went to a friend of mine, Kevin Santiago, took me to a Tony Robbins Business Mastery event. This has got to be 6 or 7 years ago now. And I went to that event. I'm all about personal growth, and I've always liked Tony Robbins, had never been to his stuff. And my expectations of this event was a 2 or a 3. And the experience was a 10. It was so good. It was so impressive. He blew me away by the energy and the content and just what I experienced. But he said something in that event that the language and the simplicity really captured me. Where he said the secret to living is giving, and that we grow so that we have more to give. And it kind of captured what I want my personal life philosophy to be, which is I want to grow and I want to give. And he broke it down. He said that there's kind of these 6 core human needs that we all have as humans, and the psychology around why giving is so important. And he said all of us have these 6 human needs. We've got the need for certainty. We just need to know that, people are going to drive on the right side of the road, and that laws are going to be kept, and that, we have a schedule that's going to be kept and we're going to be employed and all those things, that our husband or wife are going to be there when we get home. And that need for certainty is really important. And when things get uncertain in life, it shakes us up. But there's a dueling or a competing need of uncertainty or variety that all of us, if we're doing the same thing every single day, we're bored. And so we want to shake it up. We want adventure. And it's balancing those two. But then you have the need of significance. And you look at these multi-hundred-billion-dollar companies that have built their business models on significance with social media and the need to get likes and to get recognized and to get acknowledged as people and significance. And then lastly, this love and connection, this need for friendship and people to care about you and you to care about them. And he says that these are all basic human needs, that all of us have them, and that our dominant need will drive a lot of our behaviors. But then he talks about the super needs. And these are the ones that drive fulfillment. These are the ones that actually create true fulfillment and happiness. And the way he describes these super needs is that you are fulfilled when you are growing at a high level and when you're giving at a high level. And this framework to think about life has been really helpful for me when I think about, my desire to have fulfillment in life. And then also the times in life where I've been fully fulfilled. And I think back about, my days working in door-to-door sales or working at Vivint or going on a church mission or even playing sports. And they have these elements of growing at a very aggressive clip, whether it's learning new language, whether it's learning a new business, learning new skills, but just really being pushed to grow. But then second, a big component of giving and serving. And in all those times when I've been the happiest, it's when I have a high level of both of those things, that I'm growing and when I'm giving. And so with giving, my core mentor or mentors, what I'd put, is kind of the GOAT on, the people who I look up to that capture this is Todd Peterson was that for me. I was a young kid working for Vivint Smart Home, and I had this mentor, had this leader that at a very young age, I just got to watch how he gave unconditionally, that he gave both on kind of a big scale, legacy type gifts with working with IHC and donating to hospitals and schools and different things like that. But then also even more impactful on micro giving. He had this habit of carrying around cash and always looking for opportunities to make somebody's life special. And it's countless stories at this point, but it influenced me to a point where I made a decision. This was probably 15 years ago now, to adopt those habits. And I could literally go on and on and on about the life-changing experiences that I've had from these micro giving experiences. But the ripple effect is so profound. The effort and the energy that you put into blessing somebody's life. So I want to talk about the things, because anytime we go into giving, it instantly goes to money, but money's not the only thing that we can give. And some of us don't have surplus capital to give, but all of us have resources, and all of us have our time. All of us have our skills. All of us have encouragement, like a kind word. And any of these things matter, and matter in a significant way. And they're all just resources along with money that we can make a deliberate choice that in our life on a daily basis, that we make a decision to give, and to give consistently, and give on a big level and give on a small level. I want to share a couple of stories, and these are, stories that have inspired me to be better and to give more. So Brad Roster, he was a guy who worked with me for a lot of years. And him and Todd Peterson were up in Canada. And Brad was telling me this story. They're in Canada at a race, and Todd has a plane. And the plane, there was something with the plane where they couldn't get on the plane and fly out. So they go to a local diner, and there is a waitress at the diner. And Todd goes into the diner and says, hey, how long have you worked here? And the waitress had worked there for 25 years. And he said, that's crazy. We were in the car and we talked about it. We said, if there is a person who's worked for 25 years, we're going to give that person the best tip they've ever had in their life. And they went and they had their meal. And then at the end of the meal, Todd gives this waitress $10,000. And the impact that Brad said that it had on him, he just watched this lady, that the only reason that Todd spent any time at that restaurant was because their plane didn't work. But he had this spirit of giving and this intention to go just make magic in somebody's life and make a life-changing memory. And not only was it something that I'm sure she'll never forget, it was something that Brad will never forget. And then Brad tells me that story, and I'm telling you guys that story. And these gifts and this legacy of goodness and contribution, there's a butterfly effect of how it continues to move forward and does good in life. I remember I had some friends that did this $100 tip challenge, where at the end of every single meal, they would allocate some capital to the end of the week and they would do $100 tip. And sometimes they would come together and all of them would put the same $100 for a waiter or a waitress. And the profound impact that it would have on those individuals, both the people giving and the people receiving, it was just this fun, special experience. One more story that I had. So it was Christmas Eve. This is a couple years ago. And in that macro giving strategy, me and my wife, it's something that's really important now. And we're, trying to really tighten up, where do we give that makes the biggest impact? And IHC has been one that, matters to us. And so that's been kind of a bigger gift that we've chosen to give, but also to UVU. We just made kind of a sizable, commitment to UVU and their entrepreneurship program. So these are the macro gifts. These are like the legacy type gifts where you're saying, what place could my dollars go work the hardest to go create the most value in the things that are aligned with me? But then there's the micro giving, and this is more about abundance versus scarcity. This is more about showing up with the right energy on a daily basis. And I see this as exercise. I see this the same thing as going to the gym every day, is working that abundance muscle. And it's Christmas Eve, and my family is inside. They're enjoying Christmas Eve, and we DoorDashed some food to the house. And DoorDash for me has been like the most turnkey opportunity to give on a micro level, because so many of the people that are working for DoorDash, they're independent contractors. They're working nights and weekends and all hours to go create a living for themselves. And a lot of them are women. They're immigrants. They're people that are, just trying to get scrappy to go earn extra income to get by. And so it creates this amazing opportunity where there's a need and they come to you. And so the DoorDash is coming to the house. I'm inside with my family. I'm comfortable, and I get this nudge that I should go and give a tip. And I'm fighting against it because I'm comfortable and in my house. And then you kind of hear the prompt again to go give. And so I go outside, and the guy had dropped off our food and was walking to his car. And I call out to the guy, and I just said, hey, is there any way you could come back real quick? And the guy turns around, and again, you could just see that life had been very hard on this individual. It was almost like there was an exposed wound that I touched, that it was very sensitive, and he kind of turned around almost in like such an aggressive manner that it was like the guy wanted to fight me. And he, had face tattoos and just, he looked like he had had a really hard life. And I called out to him, and I just said, hey, he came walking up, and I just said, hey, I just want to acknowledge you. I was like, I'm inside with my family, and we're enjoying Christmas Eve, and I didn't have to go out and pick up this food. You came to my house, and you're working on Christmas Eve, and I just want to tell you thank you for allowing me to go spend more time with my family. And I give this guy a couple $100. And this guy, this hard shell just breaks. And this guy just breaks down. He just gives me this big hug. And it was this timeless moment where no one else saw it. It's me and this guy. It's Christmas Eve. We're just hugging it out. And he walks off, and it was like the most special Christmas. And so much of it came down to having an impression or having a feeling that something needed to be done, having kind of the lazy or the comfortable side of me fighting against it or justifying why not to do it, and then actually answering the call and going out there and then looking somebody in the face and just telling them thank you for the service that they're providing for your family so that we could go, have a really special Christmas. But then to see the impact with this individual. And this is years ago now. This is 3 or 4 years ago, but I think about this experience quite a bit. And I don't know why it was so profound for me, but it was this physical change in someone. And even the girl that we had the experience in the line at Cold Stone, there's a physical change when you express kindness and you acknowledge somebody and their worth and who they are and what they're about. And you just acknowledge them as a human, as a person, and acknowledge their work and their effort. And it's amazing how just we all need it. We all need it. And when we can give that, I got to take that experience. I still get to take that experience with me, and it's had an impact on me. And so as I summarize kind of this topic of giving, I'd like to make the Christmas challenge, and I'd like for everybody to comment on the account on taking a moment to go carve out resources. Preferably go carve out some money, whatever makes you a little bit uncomfortable, and go find somebody or pray for somebody or have the intention of your heart to go have that life be a blessing to somebody else. But also your time and your energy and your consideration, that if we can kind of make a deliberate plan to go give that in a way that's meaningful and impactful, and how that affects the individual and how that affects us. I just love to hear these stories because I do think that they grow on each other, and that we see that physical evidence of people stepping up and being kind and leading in that aspect. And it encourages us to go do the same. And, I think about the impact that I've had from having mentors, and specifically a mentor that just captures this spirit of abundance and giving so completely, that's impacted my life in such a profound way. And I think all of us, if we can be deliberate with this particular trait, we will live a happier, more fulfilled life, and will be a blessing in the lives of the people we come in contact with. So Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope it's a special holiday, and I hope that we can give and give in a big way.